What's the biggest risk you've taken? And it doesn't even have to be business related, just like in general. Because I'll tell you mine after you tell me yours, and mine was a bad decision.
The biggest risk I've ever taken, having kids, right? But that's
a big risk. Boy, you just are making me sound like a terrible human. We're like a minute and a half in, and at every turn, I'm like, wow, Jeremy's just a better person than I am.
You're like, yeah, okay, that is a really... All right, but
I don't know. If we talk about biggest risks, like taking risks, man, that's driving across the country in a van that has 200,000 miles on it. Like, that was kind of a big risk.
Was that so you could have babies? Like, what? I'm not
no, that was just we're not connected. We already had 4 babies at that time. But that was to get our babies to all 50 states.
You guys hit all 50?
Yeah, we've now hit all 50. So
okay, what's the best state
I've been thinking a lot about this, but I know it's lunch break podcast, right? So we can talk about whatever. So we might as well just talk about travel.
I'm okay with
that. But yeah, what's your follow-up question off of that?
What's the best state you've been to?
So yeah, that's the first question everybody asks. Like,
great, I'm original.
You got 4 kids, Nick. Which is your favorite kid?
Come on, dude. There are some bad states out there. Like, let's not compare Alabama to my 16-year-old.
Dude, Alabama was a lot of fun. Gulf Shores is beautiful. Like right on the Gulf, like yeah, I haven't get up into I do want to hit Central Alabama, right? Like I haven't spent any time there, but there's a lot of civil rights history, right? Obviously, Selma and Montgomery, and like there was a big fight that went on in Alabama, right? Like there's a lot of respect there to Martin Luther King Jr. and all of those others, right? To what was accomplished on the battlefields of Alabama, right? But so I don't know, Alabama is a tough one to pick. Maybe we could pick Iowa.
Not a fan of Iowa, huh?
I love Iowa.
Rolling hills of corn.
Aren't you from Iowa?
Yeah, I'm from Iowa.
Okay, well,
listen, Iowa.
You got a 1 in 50 chance.
But listen, you had to, and I'm repping 2 of them right now. But no, Iowa's there's some shitty parts of Iowa. I grew up in one of them.
I'm not saying Iowa is terrible, right? Like I don't think any state in the union is terrible.
Have you been to Florida?
I have been to Florida. I love Florida.
Have you been to Orlando?
I have been to
Orlando's
Orlando.
gnarly, dude.
So
Orlando's gnarly.
I get in trouble because I always say that I can't believe I'm going to say this. I think Orlando's like the taint of Florida. It taint the Gulf and it taint the Atlantic. It's just the hot, muggy spot in the middle that no one wants to hang out in.
Orlando's tough. Orlando's tight,
rough,
but it's
dude.
tough, dude. Yeah, it's tough.
There's a reason why Walt got that for a pretty good deal and built the park.
That's right, dude. Yeah, that's right, bro.
How long did it take you guys to road trip 50?
We started in 2015, and then we hit Alaska and Hawaii as our last 2 in 2021.
That's a long drive to Hawaii.
So it was
especially
a long
in a
drive.
van.
I didn't say that we drove to we actually drove to 48 states, but we did not make the drive to Alaska or to Hawaii.
Really? The drive to Alaska.
They haven't finished that bridge yet from California to Hawaii, so it's still under construction.
Yeah. I saw some TikTok because everything on TikTok
isn't that what those Ocean Gate guys were trying to do?
They were talking about building a bridge from Australia to LA and what that would look like and how many.
They've been talking about Russia to Alaska too.
That's not that far though, right? I mean,
no, yeah, that's not that far.
Depending on which part of Alaska, right?
Because they've also talked about Portugal to Morocco.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
But that would be like a few $1 billion, I read.
Yeah, I would imagine that would not be. I don't even know how you get that. Like, isn't that, anyway, that's wild. Isn't that what those Ocean Gate guys were trying to do? They were trying to find
the Ocean Gate?
Stop it.
No, I honestly have no idea what you're talking about.
The billionaires who went down. The billionaires who went down.
To see the Titanic?
To see the Titanic? Yeah, it was a joke.
They were also talking about building a bridge.
But you didn't know what Ocean Gate was.
Too soon.
And now
too soon. Now
and now I'm making fun of billionaire.
So in the hierarchy of good dudes to bad dudes, it goes Jeremy, me, then you.
That's right. Hey, can I tell you a funny story?
At least you're above somebody, Nick.
That's right. Listen. There was this lady on Facebook. So the day they found out that for sure, we found a debris field and parts of the sub were in the debris field. This lady gets on Facebook and she's like, hey, just so you know, it is too soon to make Ocean Gate or submarine jokes or Titanic jokes. And so I commented on her post and I was like, please don't go on TikTok for the last 5 days.
So wait. She was on what platform?
Facebook.
That still exists?
That still exists.
Yeah.
And I rock it on Facebook, dude. I kill it on Facebook.
What? Are you 90?
The lead I closed today?
Yeah.
You heard
Congrats,
me.
by the way. Yeah. I heard you do it, and it was impressive.
Facebook lead. Posting on Facebook, dude. Let's go, baby.
And yet you're not on Instagram. So,
Dude, I'm not on Instagram.
my Instagram feed is...
I guess we don't even ask if you're on Threads then.
No, I'm not on Threads. I was like, I should do that. And then I was like, you can't. You can only have an Instagram login. I thought you could have a Facebook or whatever, but you can't.
That's weird. Even Facebook knows Facebook's dead.
Yeah, they're like, who's on there? They're like, our Threads audience isn't on Facebook, dog.
No, they don't even say Threads. They don't even say Threads an app by Meta. It's an app by Instagram. Like if you go in the App Store,
that's true, isn't it?
It's an app by Instagram.
It's an app by Instagram.
It's not even by Meta or by Facebook. It's like, okay, we know which asset of ours is of the most value.
They're like 40 to 60-year-olds in Dalton leave on Facebook. We're going to bring everybody back over to...
See, and Dalton
let's don't put 40-year-olds in that Facebook category. Okay. We're not in that category. So...
I'm young for Facebook. I'm 42 and I'm like the young hip guy in there.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you can't put 40 into the Facebook cat. It's like 50.
That's funny.
Like my parents are on Facebook.
That's funny.
Yeah, you go to Facebook to fight with relatives. You go to Twitter to fight with strangers. You go to Instagram to feel bad about yourself. You go to TikTok to laugh and give China all your data. Like that's kind of it. Yeah. And you go to LinkedIn to tell everyone how great you are.
And then you use Google Maps to get to all those places and they steal your data.
That's right.
And give it to China.
Joke's on you, TikTok. We've been doing this for years.
Yeah, joke's on you. America's already been doing that. Screw you guys.
And they love us for it.
Late to the show.
But I'm amazed. This dude doesn't have Instagram, like legitimately. So
yeah, he was.
my Instagram feed is kind of ruined. I have a group of friends, client. Actually, it's like my client Dixon. It's like all of the leadership team there and me are in this thread, and we just send each other, questionable things that you find on Instagram. So it wrecks your feed. It's bad, but I die laughing.
Yeah, you just laughed, dude. Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my gosh, I saw 2 or 3 of them and I was like, Dalton will love these. So I started sending them to Dalton on Instagram. And then I message him. I'm like, dude, don't you think those Instagram things are funny? He's like, I don't have Instagram. I've been sending them to some rando, dude. Like wildly inappropriate.
They're like, this is a bot, dude. This is a bot. Yeah. This is what.
Who is this? Nick Stagge.
Stagge is a bot. Is a bot, dude.
It doesn't help that my profile is like a fat claymation too. So.
You're one of the Instagram giveaway followers or whatever it is.
Okay, so should we get back to our brand new segment? Rapid fire. Okay. I want to know who in your mind is the GOAT? T Swift, T Pain, or Mr. T?
Mr. T.
Really?
Yeah.
You pity a fool.
Oh, yeah.
That ages us because there's going to be a lot of people listening that have no idea.
That's my generation. I'm sorry.
I was like Mr. T.
I grew up watching the A-Team. Like, come on.
Mohawk chains. Big and tough.
Chuck Liddell. No. No, just kidding. I'm 29, dude.
See, we're already talking over him. He's like,
I'm like, yeah. He's like the Iceman. That's Chuck Liddell, UFC. Yeah. I'm just kidding. Mr. T's good one.
Okay. 4th of July, best food. Hot dogs, corn dogs, mini dogs.
Oh, man.
Mini dogs, breaded or like wieners? Since
I've only eaten one of those actually on the 4th of July, I'd have to go hot dogs, I guess. But if I was to choose between those as like, okay, this is the go-to, then it's probably going to be a deep fried corn dog from the fair.
Deep fried corn dog, nice.
Yes, let's go. Iowa has that. Yep.
So did you watch?
Yeah, that's probably right out of Iowa. Like everything's deep fried in Iowa.
Deep fried and on a stick.
Deep fried Twinkies on a stick.
Yeah.
Deep fried Oreos.
I had deep fried Oreos.
Deep fried corn.
Deep fried corn's the bomb. On a stick is bomb.
I've never had deep fried
corn on a stick. Yep.
Deep fried corn
Iowa
on a
State
stick.
Fair, baby.
Dude, everything in Iowa is deep fried on a stick.
Iowa State Fair. This is why I never understood. Like people are like, Utah gets a bad rap, like sugar, addicted to sugar. Yeah. I'm like, have you ever been to Alabama or Iowa?
Yes.
Have you had sweet tea from Georgia? Go, dude.
It's just a sugar cube.
That's it, bro.
Well,
There's
I
no
was
tea in
talking to
that,
the
dog.
Stana group. They're the VC that bought Fizz.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, yeah, you're in Utah and Idaho and Arizona. You're in kind of the Mecca. And they're like, dude, get out of town.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Alabama. Let's go to Mississippi. Let's go to Georgia. Like,
Yep. When I was
no,
like,
they
for
drink
one
soda like
soda,
water
people
out there.
yeah,
Dude,
it's
when I
like,
was-
it's
drink
like 10
soda
to
like
1.
water out of there. It's like your options is Coke. Everything's Coke, right? Like
everything's called Coke. Yep.
There's whether you're drinking Sprite,
Sprite is
root
a
beer,
Coke.
Dr Pepper, whatever, it's Coke,
It's
right?
Coke.
Like you're either drinking Coke, tea, or lemonade. Like you choose, right? Like, and they're all sweet, like super sweet, right? Like they just high fructose corn syrup every meal, man.
Yeah.
Like
When I worked
why
for Dirty
Southern
Dough-
food's so good? Because they lather that stuff in lots and lots of butter and cheese
Lard,
That's
baby.
and lard, right?
And
Like,
then everything has syrup on top.
100%, baby. 100%. When I worked for Dirty Dough, everybody was like, oh, cookie, you must kill it in Utah. And I was like, no, dude, actually. So let's take Dirty Dough out, but like Crumble, their top 10 stores are all outside of Utah. Their top 15 stores are all outside of Utah.
Are they down south?
that's because in Utah we actually know how to make a good cookie at home.
That's fair.
Grandma's
That's right.
recipe, dude.
Man,
But
my cookies are way better than crumbles. Like
You think
Tennessee.
so?
Oh,
That's bold.
yeah, easy.
bold,
I think
dude.
so. I think so.
Like I'm going home after this and we're making chocolate chip cookies, like legit. Like the butter's out on the table, softening.
It's
up,
softening.
like, yeah.
You
That's
don't
a
you don't
critical
have-
step.
Yeah.
Betty Crocker
So-
cake mix.
Got to
into the-
pre-soften
Do you
that
remember-
butter.
Betty Crock.
Do you remember that?
Betty Crocker don't know how to make cookies.
No, there was so when Crumble was shooting Dirty Dough, they had a bunch of stuff. But one of the memes that got passed around to like that kind of killed Crumble there for a minute was somebody took a picture of one of the workers through the window, and they were putting Betty Crocker like cake mix into the big batter because now apparently that's like a pretty normal thing in like a bakery.
Yeah.
But like Crumble was like, we make all of ours from scratch and Betty Crocker.
And a whole tub of Betty Crocker.
Scratch is Betty Crocker. It makes sense if you don't think about
If you
it.
could fill a hot tub with just Betty Crocker, just like dive
That's
in.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. All right.
All right, I've got others. Let me pull this up.
All right.
We've already kind of talked about this. Is Threads the new Clubhouse or the new TikTok?
Oh, good one.
Well, it's not the new TikTok.
So is it the new? It's one or the other, Clubhouse or TikTok.
I guess Clubhouse. I don't
You
know
got-
enough
well-
about Clubhouse to really give it a qualifier.
Well, that's why it's probably the next Clubhouse.
Yeah, Clubhouse was.
It got there for a minute. What I think Clubhouse did really good marketing wise was they made that wait list, iPhone only wait list.
Yeah. I feel like
then
no one wants to go to a party that no one else is at. Everyone wants to go to a party that everyone's at.
Yeah.
People would kill to go to a party that they're not allowed to go to.
Yeah.
Right? And that's kind of what Clubhouse did. Is they're like, there's a party going on and you're not allowed.
Yeah.
And that
But
just
then when you
makes
get-
people want it
But
so
then
bad.
when they opened it up to Android and then everybody was off the wait list, Clubhouse just kind of turned into this weird kind of like Reddit style where only people. It's like you were on there for like conspiracy theories or like fringe money guy, like alpha male money guys who were like,
Well, and the
take
fact,
my
I feel
$50
like-
course and make millions.
Yeah.
what does it say if that's all what my YouTube is now? Like,
Oh, alpha male money guys.
those are all the ads I get on YouTube.
I think that says more about your search volume than
That's right.
than YouTube, dude.
You doing some?
You just
alpha
told
male
us a
money
whole
guys?
bunch about yourself.
That's why I pay for YouTube Premium though. That's $12 a month you could ever spend.
So good. Okay, next one. Do you have your phone with you?
I do.
I want to know if you're willing to share. What are the 3 most used emojis? So
Oh gosh.
I'll tell you mine right now. Mine are boring. Mine are real boring. I can't even believe, I don't even know that I used these. A star, a thumbs up, and 100.
So
Wow.
my 3 most used
Yeah, the top 3.
is the kissy one with the heart because I send that to my wife all the time.
I could see that.
Okay, deal.
No
No shame.
The crying, laughing, LOL,
Yeah.
right?
That's
And
also
then-
because you're above 40.
And then yeah, probably.
Wait, is
And then
face
the-
to
and
the
then the
side?
wink
face
with-
to the side, crying, laughing, or
No,
straight up?
straight up.
Yeah, all right. Boomer. Just kidding.
Yeah,
We're old.
straight LOL.
Coming from the guy who has a star.
It's all right. You can call
That's
me.
because I manage other brands'
Yeah.
TikTok and social media off my phone, and it's like 5-star review. So I don't just use it once; I use it like 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's really for me. I'm going to defend myself here.
It's fair.
And then what'd you say the last one was? A winking?
The wink with the tongue out.
Oh, not just a wink with the tongue out.
With the tongue out.
That's a little more wacky.
So, let's go.
That's like a wink could be just kind of sensual, but a wink with the tongue out, that's like, I'm here for a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Dalton, what are you willing to share?
Well, camera, eggplant, splashing.
Could have called 2 of the 3. Wait, actually, all 3 together say quite a bit, dude.
There you go. Do you remember?
Oh my gosh. Welcome to the Lunch Break
That's
podcast.
right, baby. Let's go. No, do you remember when people would try to
I don't know that my kids could listen to this podcast.
I didn't say
We haven't
anything.
even warmed up yet, dude.
No, that's funny, dude. Yeah, you gotta just joke around like that. I send like whenever I Venmo my wife on something, it's public, and that's why I use those 3 emojis.
Yeah. I always just
and then
say,
she immediately turns it private and texts me back and like, what the hell did you do? My mom looks at our Venmo.
like, good. Real good.
What is with Venmo trying to be a social media app, by the way?
Yeah, you can go through and see when people spend money. Yeah.
Really? Am I going to go look and see what my friends pay each other for? Like,
no, I only do it for the memes.
But you go back and look at other people's?
Sometimes, yeah, when I'm on there, I'm like, oh, that's funny. Like,
Like,
oh, what do you pay for him for? And then you see the
feed?
emojis, and I'm like, I wonder what that is. Like, keep going. Like, I wonder what that is, dude. That's wild, bro.
Nick's sending someone a lot of money with a leaf next to it every time.
It said boats and hoes. And
yeah, I am too old. I just don't get the social media part of Venmo. Like,
it never made sense to me either. It always feels like an inside joke. Like something I send to the person I'm sending money to as just like a gotcha, and then I would never think about it again.
Right.
But
then on the reverse, when someone sends me one and it's something that's like a gotcha, I'm just like, moron.
I know.
Like I get the whole like emoji and like I'm gonna fake what I'm sending, like whatever, right? Like, but I don't understand like why you have a feed of like what my friends have been paid.
And you don't see the amount either. You just see the note.
Right, and I don't.
What a weird way to go.
I don't even know that. I've never.
Yeah, what a weird way to go down.
Like my cousin got paid from some rando for groceries. Like what? Like why do I care?
Right. It does feel odd to care.
So Threads is probably Clubhouse.
Oh yeah. Let's get back to this.
Do you think I think it was a bold move. I think they did it at the right time, though. I don't think they could have picked a better time to launch Threads than a week after Elon rate limits everybody. And especially if you're unverified and a new unverified account, you can only see 300 tweets like a day or something, or every 6 hours or something like that. And then older like older accounts but unverified can only see 600. And then if you're verified and over a certain age, like as far as your account, and you can see like 3,000 or something like that.
I mean, I think I understand the genesis behind those moves, and I can appreciate it, but it's just how long are people willing to just have the rug pulled out from underneath them over and over again?
And Twitter's just a cesspool too, just freaking.
No, it's bad. Like it's
bad,
a bunch of garbage, right? Like, and I don't
on
know.
both sides.
I've deleted Twitter off my phone even before Threads hit, right?
Same.
Like I don't use it like I used to, and it used to be a cool conversation platform, and I don't know what you call it now, right? Like I stitched or I threaded out, like whatever. Like what is it called? Like I sent a message out on Threads. I don't know what the proper lingo is.
There isn't like a clear
post.
I'm literally
tweet.
I'm like 18 hours into this thing, right? So I don't know what the right lingo is yet for Threads. But I sent a message out this morning as the NBA guy I am. I said if Woj and Shams put Threads as their number one priority for leaking NBA news, then I know it took off.
Oh,
that's the only thing I miss about not being on Twitter is
the news,
the sports news specifically. Like,
okay.
That was kind of the only thing that I really liked out of it.
I feel like ESPN's up their game enough now that like the ESPN alerts on your phone are as fast as like Woj's tweets now.
Oh, see,
like
I don't have that. Maybe I should, but I don't
know.
And maybe that's just fresh in my mind because it's NBA offseason right now, right? Like free agency started like a week ago, so
yeah.
So
and you're clearly a Jazz guy. Yes.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly. I don't know.
Are you excited
I don't know if
about
that was made obvious
about
or
our
if we're not
moves?
here.
Are you? What do you think about our rookies?
Yeah, I'm interested. It's hard to judge a rookie by not know, like, you know, this ain't the 90s anymore. Like, this kid's too young over here, right? But
I don't even watch basketball anyway.
But like, growing
Yeah, dude, you
growing
don't
up
even
in the
want to hear what he
90s,
told
like,
me
you
earlier.
knew when Grant Hill was coming to the league that Grant Hill was going to be legit. Like, he spent 4 years in college. You knew who he was, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it was pretty easy to tell. Now it's like, okay, I don't even know who Brandon Miller is. Like,
Dude, I think Slick Vic.
so
I think he's going to be a bust.
who?
Slick Vic.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, the number 1 pick. Have you seen that? Do you know anything about this dude?
I have no idea.
He's from France. What is he? 7'6"?
He's 7'4".
He probably weighs.
Already too tall.
He probably weighs 112 pounds. Like
Too small.
No, he's probably 210, 215.
Oh, is he really?
Still
Yeah,
too small.
which for a 7'4" guy is not a lot, right?
No, that's
like,
small.
Like you think
If you're
Shaq,
7'4"
Shaq was 7'1", right? And Shaq weighed 285 to 300 on a light day.
That sounds like a 7'1"
Like-
guy. That sounds like if you're 7'4", you got to be close to 250, 280, right?
At least.
Dang.
Yeah, like Sean Bradley, right? Like he was even 250 and he was still too skinny.
Yeah.
Right? Like he still had it.
I was like,
But this
damn, I was
cat-
like 7'4".
This cat is like a 7'4" point guard.
But
he
I-
shoots running 3-pointers.
But there was a guy that came into the NBA years ago that we said was too skinny and would never play, and he played just like Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, but
and
have you
name
seen
was
his
Kevin Durant.
hairline?
His name was Kevin Durant. Like he moves like KD
Yeah, yeah.
in a 7'4" frame, right?
Yeah,
Like he's 4
yeah.
inches taller than KD, but he moves like KD. He can block shots like Rudy, right? Like, and I don't know. It's just watching the little bit I've seen of it. Like, he's pretty good, and it'll be really like a guy that can put up a 3-point shot and then go get the rebound and dunk it in on the run. Like, misses his 3-point shot
I hope
and
it
follows
doesn't
it up
happen.
with a dunk. Like, that's crazy.
I hope it doesn't happen, but I think the dude's gonna like get broken in half.
Yeah, he's
And
gonna,
that's the question, right?
that's
Like,
probably
Yeah.
in his
like
contract.
Chet Holmgren, right? Like Chet Holmgren's like the same like type of dude, right? Like,
Yeah.
and he sat out all last year because he got broken half in a summer scrimmage, right? Like LeBron put a crossover on him and broke his ankles literally, but
yeah, good
Attaboy,
golly.
LeBron.
I was
Attaboy.
gonna say he's probably in his contract. He's got to gain a little bit of weight, huh?
so
I mean, like, because I know those guys are all business, and that would be a smart business move. Is
but
like,
you look at
you
like
gotta get some
one of the big things that Rudy Gobert, was he focused so much on his core.
Dude, he's so strong.
Yeah, he is.
That dude is shredded.
But he came into the league skinny, scrawny.
Yeah.
Like, he was a string bean when he came into the league. But he put a lot of focus on not just gaining muscle just to gain muscle, but it was strategic, right? Like hamstrings.
See, and that's always been my problem. I've just like
Quads,
packed on
abs.
muscle without any real strategy.
Yeah.
Just a real. I'm a
Yeah.
walking 6-pack.
yeah, touche.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about Marketing Solved. What are you up to these days?
Yeah, I guess we can get into that conversation.
No?
That's-
I mean, come on.
Right now I'm running an agency. We focus on marketing automation. So we help brands build out their marketing flows, primarily focused on email and SMS. We do a little bit with kind of print, direct mail.
Dude, I think the direct mail piece that you guys are doing is super cool.
Yeah, there's a need for it, right?
And
Like email and SMS are great. And I like number one, right? Like I think every brand needs to own their list. They need to own their data, right? Like we talk about all these social media platforms and it's like when I started Ultra 14 years ago, it was in the heyday of Facebook because I didn't have to pay to get followers on Facebook and I didn't have to pay to talk to them, right? Like I just posted stuff and people latched on, right?
Yeah.
Like people saw it, they followed, people shared it. It was the heyday, right? Like it was awesome. Now, like it's almost impossible to get somebody to follow your Facebook page without paying some money, right? Like, and Facebook can turn it off at any moment. Like they can crank up ad spend any moment, right? Like bids can climb, like all of this stuff can go every which way or whatever. And like I'm a huge proponent for getting onto social media platforms early as a brand. because you never know where they're going to go, right? Like if you're not on TikTok, go get on there, right? Like spend some time, put some investment behind it, because still like you're able to get a pretty good followership if you have decent content and a good story.
Yeah.
Threads, you might be able to play pretty well on Threads right now, right?
I wonder how different Threads is going to be though, because it like
you can't DM is what I heard.
Well, just that you're importing everything from Instagram. Like people are starting day one on Threads with 2 million followers.
But if you're on there,
oh really? Okay.
Yeah,
they are, because they like
auto
it just
follow,
comes over, right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't auto follow everybody when I signed in, right? Like I was like, I'm gonna hand pick this, right? Like I don't want to just follow everybody on Threads that I follow on Instagram.
Everybody zigs and you zag every time, dude.
I know. I try to zag.
What I like about you.
I like to zag. I'm a contrarian by nature, I suppose. But I do think that getting on and getting in the conversation, because if you scroll down to the bottom of your feed, well, now it starts feeding you other suggested stuff, right? And so if you can get on there and have a following and be in the conversation, maybe you can be one of those suggested, right? And start to get more followers potentially. And if you have a good story, like there can be some value. But going back to email and SMS, right? Like you own the data. Your email list is always going to be there, right? Like, yeah, okay, iOS 15 is going to roll out and you can hide your email addresses and do some of this stuff, sure. Open rates can be thrown a little funky. Klaviyo can charge you a little more for having a list. Google can take you out of the inbox and put you into the promotions folder, right? Like there's always going to be little things like that, but at the end of the day, you still own the list. Like you own your customer. This is why, like, if you're an Amazon focused only brand, like the hardest thing you're going to have is ever owning your customer, because Amazon's always going to own your customer. Amazon's a multi-billion-dollar business, nearing what? They're nearing $1 trillion, right? Like,
they might be over.
Yeah,
I think they are.
Are they over now?
I think so.
Okay,
I think so.
I know Apple's over, but
yeah,
I know there's a very select couple that are $1 trillion brands, right? But regardless, right? Like hundreds of billions of dollars, because they own the customer. Amazon owns you. You're a Prime subscriber, right? Like they own you. You go buy product off of there, none of those brands own you. You go shop at Walmart, none of those brands own you. Walmart owns you as a customer.
Dude,
at least they do now. They didn't 20 years ago, but now they're getting smarter, right? Like,
yeah. Well, but even if they don't own you, I mean, when I was at GoPro, we were doing an unreal amount of revenue through Best Buy.
Yeah.
And we loved it. But then we were like, cool, we sold $250 million in GoPro last year through Best Buy alone. Who were those people?
Yeah,
like, you have no idea.
We have no idea. And it's not just
There's
about...
no way to retarget them or like do anything else.
Yeah, and I think people forget it.
How do you build your personas when you don't know who your customer is?
How do you build future products?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and if you're not building new products, you got to build or die.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, it really is tough.
But I'm sure at that point, if because Best Buy GoPro is going to be one off, but I'm sure they could find out who bought them at Best Buy.
And you have some level of data, but
yeah,
you get a little bit, but it's harder.
At the end of the day, and I'll put the caveat, like that's GoPro. If you sell $250 million at Best Buy's probably going to give you help you out.
You'd be surprised, dude.
But you'd be surprised.
We have clients now who just got into Walmart and Target, and I joke with them like, that Walmart and Target are probably going to make more money off your MDF and like partnership required dollars than they will off the product that they sell of yours in stores, right? They're like, oh, you want to be on an end cap for a month? It's an extra $1,500 per store per week. You're like, what?
No, they know how to increase their margins for sure.
They just they get you on. You want to be in our circular? It's this much more. Yeah. You want to be like I was showing them like, let's go to Walmart.com. We in the search bar typed in their company name. They weren't even on the front page.
Yeah.
Because Walmart's selling it and it's sponsored posts and it's
all
the other best sellers. It's tough, right? So
it's hard, right? Like,
they take advantage of it.
I'm not saying avoid Walmart, avoid Target, right? Like
certainly.
Don't avoid Best Buy, right? Like you want to go into those markets because it gets you into new channels. It gets you into new customers, right? Like I was on a call this morning with a company called Toast, T-O-S-T, beverages, right? Like, and it's a non-alcoholic rosé, right? Like wine, but non-alcoholic. It's a white tea base. Really cool product for those that want kind of an elevated wine experience. They've got white and red.
They don't want to drink Martinelli's,
but they don't.
Is what you're telling
me?
They
don't want to drink. They don't want the sugar content for one, right? Of drinking
sure.
like a Martinelli's or something.
Sure.
But they want the flavor and the experience of kind of a dry aged like beverage. That's
They're bougie.
That's more adult beverage type, but non-alcoholic, right?
Yeah.
And
that's a big industry.
And so we're really focused with them on getting them to Walmart right now and getting them launched. I'm working with an agency out of Bentonville. And so we were having this conversation, right? And literally, right, like you've got to have budget to be in the circulars, to be on the end caps, right? Like to do these certain things, because that's how you get your exposure, right? The nice thing is about a brand like that, especially food and beverage, and the reason why they value so high is because it's all about repeat purchase, right? Like we talk about Liquid Death, right? Like Liquid Death they get valued so high because once you get somebody into your ecosystem, they're going to continue to buy from you, right? And so it's for those type of brands, it's easier to spend the money. If you're a one-off product, investing in an end cap or a circular, it eats away at your margin pretty quickly, and it's really tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I love shoes, especially in the running world, right? Like, because once you get somebody into your running shoes, runners don't convert very easily. And so once they're into your brand, you knew that I was going to sell you 4 to 8 pairs of shoes every year.
A runner's going through up to 8 pairs of shoes a year?
Oh, easy. You get 300.
Shows how much I run.
I don't run for shit.
It wasn't already obvious based on the angle. By the way, it's the camera and it's the angle that makes me look
That's right.
like I'm not shredded.
No, you get somebody that runs 3 to 4 half marathons a year, which is fairly common, right? Like that's not aggressive. That's not an ultra runner, right? Like that's somebody that, okay, I'm going to run a couple in the spring and a couple in the fall, right? And they're just half marathons. That person's probably doing 40 miles a week on average. And you get 300 to 500 miles out of a pair of shoes, right? So at 40 a week, you're going to probably get, you're probably going to get 8 weeks out of a pair of shoes. So bad at math. So 8 weeks out of one pair of shoes, and there's 52 weeks in a year, right? So
yeah. I mean, that's every 2 months. It's
7.
That's 6 shoes a month.
Yeah, 6 pair.
Or 6
right?
shoes a year.
Yeah.
Six pair a year. And then if you run trail at all, right? Like
you want a trail running shoe. You want
have a couple trail running shoes, right? Maybe you have a different shoe you race in than what you train in.
Good Gandhi.
What's the brand that Mark Wahlberg is starting now? It's something with an M. Have you seen this?
Mm-mm.
I just watched this video and I thought, what a rich prick. He's in his house and he's wearing slides that are of this brand. It's like Momentum. It's something like this.
Yeah.
And he slips out of his slides and then he slips into shoes. By the way, the guy's probably rocking like a 6.5. Like he's got tiny feet. And he takes these other shoes that he slips into on his front porch. He walks around the front porch into the garage, takes those shoes off, steps into a different set of shoes, and gets in a golf cart and drives off. And it's like,
you're not talking. You're just. Is that his like commercial line? You're not talking about like Wahlburgers.
He's just talking about
wait,
healthy habits and
his
stuff.
Shoe collection. You're talking about not. He doesn't have. Does he have a brand? Is that what you're saying?
It's a brand, and he does apparel and shoes and the whole nine. But it's not even. It wasn't even an ad. It's just him like, I wake up every morning at 3 a.m. and he's like just kind of walking and talking about his life.
Yeah,
but the whole time I'm like, this bro is changing his shoes. Municipal. He's changing his shoes every 12 feet. Like, what is he doing?
That's wild,
I watched the video like 4 times. Like, am I missing why he's doing this?
You don't change your shoes every 12 feet?
Dude,
Come on, you need a different pair of shoes for the kitchen and a different pair for the deck.
That's exactly what he's doing. It's crazy to me.
Well, yeah.
And I'm a shoe guy. Like, I have
that's weird.
A decent amount of shoes, but like I put them on for the day and then I don't take them off.
Well, that's not a Polynesian thing. Polynesian, like Eastern culture, they take their shoes off in the house, so you wouldn't even wear. So I wonder who he's marketing to.
I don't know.
If you don't have a bunch of polys to sell shoes to, bro.
His little
My brother and
his little
are coming.
baby feet.
Yeah,
maybe
that
he's selling
pisses
to
me off.
kids.
Dude, when I try to buy like Air Force Ones or whatever, I go through like, Facebook Marketplace. I don't know that actually.
I
I got some big feet, but like, dude, hold on. Facebook Marketplace is like one of the number one reselling places.
I've never been on Facebook Marketplace.
No,
Ever.
we
because
we poo-pooed Facebook earlier, right? Like Facebook Marketplace does dominate. Right?
I go to KSL I go to KSL for that stuff.
I know, but
you too?
But only
I will hit Facebook first, actually.
Yeah,
really?
Facebook.
Via my wife, because my wife is still on Facebook. I don't have the apps on my
Yeah.
I got you though, dog.
She'll look it up on Facebook. Like the one thing that's
Facebook Marketplace,
like that's one of the
kills it,
places.
dude. They kill
it.
Facebook shopping and Marketplace is the one thing that keeps Facebook relevant, right? Plus, like as much as we talk about 50 plus is Facebook, right? Like it's still a great ad platform.
The ad platform,
Facebook kills it. Facebook
cranks,
does
dude.
well.
But it is interesting to see them do this. So this is a weird connection, but like, I don't know, 10 years ago, I was at Skull Candy and we went to a Radio Shack event in Dallas, Texas.
Wow, you just dated
with
yourself
all the
big
franchise owners and like,
I forgot that Radio Shack was a franchise.
it was huge back then, right?
Yeah.
And the CEO's up on stage taking questions, and someone's like, "Hey, I'm worried about the future of Radio Shack," and homeboy literally was like, "Yeah, the data shows that 50% of our core customers are dead, and the other 50% will be dead in 5 to 10 years."
The CEO said that?
The CEO said that to every franchise owner sitting at this event.
So
and
the
I'm looking
franchise
at it
owner were
like,
like-
what the? And so they're like, what are you doing? He's like, well, we're moving from the Radio Shack to the Shack. Like, you can't just change a name and nothing else shifts, right? But it's interesting to see Facebook doing things like acquiring Instagram, Threads,
going after Twitter.
Meta, like, because Facebook
Yeah.
is going to fade into the distance at some point.
So I appreciate this, right? Like
I think so.
My 11-year-old and I started watching Young Sheldon. If you've seen that, right? Like if you've seen Big Bang Theory, right? Like it's the story of him growing up in Texas, right? But he loved going to Radio Shack as a kid. Like that was like his thing, right? Like it was like his reward for being good. He would talk his parents into taking him to Radio Shack. And my daughter is like, what is Radio Shack?
Oh, yeah, dude.
But I remember going to Radio Shack. My dad he's an electrical engineer, right? And so we would go to Radio Shack to buy transistors and cables and all kinds of stuff all the time. But that was back in the 80s, right? Like, so
different time.
now I just go get that off of Amazon and it's here in 2 days if I need it, right? Like,
yeah, but I think, didn't Ty Lopez, you remember Ty Lopez?
No.
I think Ty Lopez is. I think didn't he buy Radio Shack and try to turn him into an e-com brand?
I think someone did try that.
It was Ty Lopez.
Yeah.
That old school guru guy.
Yeah.
He was one of the OG like social media marketers, like when, like 10 years ago, or like maybe not 10, but like 7 or 8 years ago when like everybody wanted to be a social media marketer. Like everybody had a SMMA, right? And you're like, shit. But I think he did. He was like, yeah, I just bought Radio Shack. Gonna turn him into an e-com brand. And you're like, ooh.
Well, I've heard that Circuit City's coming back.
Yeah.
Hardcore e-com focus. Toys R Us was gone and then came back. And
Overstock just bought Bed Bath & Beyond.
Dude, that's quite the move for them, considering all the disaster that their former CEO got him into.
So that'll be interesting to see how that plays with.
Dude, he was like negatively involved with China and Russia, and like he was doing some sketchy stuff.
Sweet. Let's go Overstock. Let's go, baby.
Right?
That's wild.
Yeah.
So in the world of marketing, like on this thought of you either evolve or you die, what do you think is the thing that's either the new thing that people are evolving into or something that people are going to need to evolve out of in order to not die? Is there, if you're looking ahead, is there anything that you're like, man, this channel's going down or this strategy's going down, or like if you don't jump on this thing, you're going to be wishing that you did 5 years from now?
I think you got to figure out AI, right? Like you got to figure out how, especially as a marketer, like if you can figure out how to leverage AI for your benefit and the benefit of your brand, you're going to be a step ahead of everybody else, right? Like even if you leverage it in simple little ways starting out, right? Like have AI help you write subject lines for your emails, right? Like have it help you plan your marketing strategy, right? Like it's not going to be perfect, right? Like, and it's all about the prompts, right? Like honing in the prompts and narrowing it in.
Yeah. I know a lot of companies are moving to AI for their web chat, right?
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah,
talk
that's
to
such a good
us.
idea.
Like,
yeah, that's such a good idea.
that to me feels like a no-brainer, and it's just the first.
No, that's definitely
steps.
a no-brainer, right? And
Customer
I think you'll
Yeah.
see stuff. You're already seeing certain things. Like I think Active Campaign rolled something out this last week to where now they do AI responses via email. So if somebody emails you in, almost like a chat bot, right? Like you can set up automations to where it'll automatically respond with an AI generated response via email. And you can do the same thing with SMS, right? Like, and so that stuff is an obvious no-brainer, right? Like, but even just writing better, more engaging captions for social media posts or for ads or for these things, right? And there's probably a lot of ad creators out there that are going to try to shoot me down and say I'm wrong, right? But I think AI is such a powerful tool that if you're not using it in your marketing, you got to figure out how to start using it because it's going to help you be a lot more efficient.
I don't think it's going to replace. I know there's this talk like it's going to replace people. I think it only replaces people who avoid it. But if people learn how to use it,
well, how many people did the cotton gin?
accelerate.
How many people did the cotton gin replace? How many people did the motorized plow replace? Right, like it replaced a lot of people. But what it did is it created other opportunities, right? Like, and AI is going to replace people in certain aspects, right? Like junior developers are going to be less needed in some aspects because senior developers will just be able to tell AI properly how to code the right code, right? But those junior developers are going to need to step up their game to be senior developers, right? Like, and it's going to take oversight, and it's just going to create more opportunities. Yeah. And so it won't replace jobs, it'll displace jobs, right? Like it'll just create new jobs because that's all we've ever done, right? Like we have more people on the earth right now. And yes, there are a lot of places that are destitute and a lot of places that people don't have jobs. But if you look here just in the United States, like as the wealthiest country in the world, like we have such a low unemployment rate. And we've had artificial intelligence with us since the calculator was created. Like the calculator's AI. Like we're just learning how to use this artificial
it's just
intelligence.
becoming more sentient. Well, I think it is sentient, but
yeah.
It's not sentient, but we can
I
get into
dude,
that.
I don't know.
We can get into that philosophical conversation.
I don't know.
I was gonna say, bro. I was gonna say, dude. All you have to do is answer the question of like, what does it mean to be alive? Well, thinking for yourself, having a little bit of consciousness.
But I don't think it does think for itself. Like it's still AI. If you go and you like Chat GPT, for example, right? Like which is kind of the big one right now, right? Like if I go and I just tell it to write me a research paper on whatever, it's not going to be that good. But if I go and I start feeding it better prompts and I give it follow it, now make it sound like this, give it this voice, right? Like then it'll start adapting, but it's taking the information that it's available to it and then it's being able to react off of that, right? Like it's taking data out of a database and compiling it for me, right? So it's not truly thinking for itself.
All that learning that we're putting it through with prompts and
absolutely,
it's just compounding, right?
No,
to me it feels like we're talking about something that's in its infancy in reality, and quickly it could become much.
Well, but that's where I'm saying like sure, I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
no, I don't I think. Hey, we can get into Peter Diamandis, Ray Kurzweil, right? Like we can go down this rabbit hole. And do I think that we can get there? Potentially, right? But we're not there yet, right? Like I wouldn't call AI sentient at this point, right? Like it only.
I think it's on the cusp. I would agree. It's probably not there yet, but
it reacts to the information that we're supplying it, right? And so as the prompt giver, it's only going to respond to what I tell, right? Like it's not going to come up with new strategies or new ideas or new, it's only going to formulate what's available to it and put it into words.
Sure. Yeah.
We'll see.
And that's the power. That's the power of us as humans, right? And that's the power that we have as marketers and really in whatever our role and capacity is, right? Is we can think above and beyond a machine. We can formulate things that a machine can't. We can take machine learning, we can take all of that information, and then we can make better educated decisions off of it. But at the end of the day, we're making those, we are agents unto ourselves. We're making those decisions based off of the information. We can use machines to help us make those decisions, and we should. And that's where AI and machine learning and all of these things become really valuable, is helping us to make those machines or make those decisions. And that's the power of the more data that we have, right? And this goes back to what we do with Marketing Solved and what my focus is gathering as much first party data as possible to make better marketing strategies and better marketing decisions, right? Let's go talk, to use what I've known for such a long time in running shoes, right? To go back to that, if I have a customer that solely only buys trail running shoes, well, I'm not going to feed them a bunch of content about road running shoes. Sure, I might promote a certain road running shoe to them occasionally, but most of the content I'm going to talk to them about is everything around the trail side of our business, right? Look at who's running this race, or look at what race is coming up, or look at this, or hey, here's your better tactics for the trail, or and really driving the information and the content as something valuable to them, because you know what? I know what they're interested in, because they're interested in trail running, because they're buying trail running shoes. And so as I learn to utilize first party data, I can talk to my customers a lot better. And I can make that experience a lot better overall.
What makes it makes the brand human.
Absolutely.
I think people makes the brand human.
Absolutely.
I think people want to connect to brands that have a soul, that have personality, that they can relate to.
that authentic, authenticity.
And there's all sorts of different variations of that and ways that you can present yourself that is still human.
Yeah.
But I do think, and it does rest with making sure that the brand understands who its customers are first.
Yeah. I just finished reading The Trusted Advisor. I don't know if you guys have ever read that, but
I don't believe in reading.
What's that?
I don't believe in reading.
But
I've read it.
You can grab it as an audiobook. Yeah. So you can,
or you could just give me the Cliff Notes real quick.
So, but one of the things they talk about later on in the book is really about personalization, right? Personalizing your marketing efforts, and whether you're a B2B or B2C, whatever you're doing, right? But one of the examples he gives is hey, if you have to shoot an email to your customer or your potential customer in Milwaukee, and just take 30 seconds to check what the weather's like and personalize it a little bit. Hey, it looks like you guys are having a pretty sunny, warm day out there. Hope you're enjoying it. In just your communication with your potential client. Yeah, you can't do that at scale with an e-commerce brand per se, but you can by segmenting them appropriately based on the data that's coming in, right? And so if I know, if I'm building out a flow, right? Maybe I can segment it.
It's so funny to say this. I have a client who's got a massive email list. These guys are doing ridiculous numbers, and they're just sending the same emails to every single person. I go to them and I'm like, yo, Dan, you need to chop this audience up. You need to segment it. He's like, you're telling me I've spent all this time and money building this gigantic list, and now you want me to put them into small lists? He's like, that doesn't make sense. I'm like, yo, dude, it does make sense. And here's why. And we start showing him. He's like, oh, yeah, it is. But so many people are just focused on I have this many people in my database, this many email addresses, and it's really okay, well, that's cool. But how much information do you have about each individual so you can give them exactly what they want and none of the other crap?
Well,
conversion rates go up, loyalty goes up, everything increases.
Absolutely. Here's a good example, right? Like, okay, I'm based here in Utah, right? Like I sit at the foot of the Wasatch Mountains. It's January, it's cold, it's snowy. All I'm thinking about is either skiing or traveling to a beach somewhere. Those are the two things on my mind, right? Like either put me on a warm beach or let me go skiing, right? That's all I want to think about. So as a marketer, I'm building out an email campaign and we're going to do a promo. And you know what? We're going to talk about how cold it is and how snowy it is. And then the person that's sitting on the beach in Miami gets that email and they're like, you idiot. Yeah. It ain't cold. Like I'm enjoying this sunny, nice day here in Miami. It's 78 degrees. Like, and if I'm promoting like cold weather gear and you got my email in Miami, you're not going to buy from me.
Viva la Miami, dude.
So, or Phoenix or wherever, right? Like they're like, and so it doesn't make sense to make the same strategy and build out the same messaging to everybody everywhere, right? Like to come back to this toast brand, right? Like one of the strategies is like, okay, well, let's talk about your new stores, right? Like, okay, well, let's take it in Clavio. It's really easy to do this. I want to build a segment where anybody's proximity is within 50 miles of Portland, Oregon. And so I'm going to build a segment based off of that. And then I'm going to send them an email to say, hey, check out our new, we're launching in Walmart this weekend here in your area in Portland, Oregon. And I can be very specific, right?
Fight your way through the homeless shelters and campsites and get your way to...
Okay, fine. Portland maybe wasn't the right example.
No, dude, it was a perfect example.
We have steel-toed running shoes for Portlandia.
Here's some gas masks. Much love, Portland.
That's right. I love Portland.
Dude, Jeremy, you're rad, man. We're so thankful that you were able to come spend time with us and talk about
everything.
This is we're kind of like, we don't like to talk about this a lot, but a lot of people are like, yo, you guys are kind of like the Seinfeld of podcasts. So we'll take it. We'll take it. We're the podcast about nothing.
Whether that's a compliment or not.
The podcast about nothing, dude. That's so funny, bro. Holy shit.
All right, man.
I feel like we just scratched the surface, though. We could go for another couple hours here. This would be fun.
I could too, but the truth is I'm pinching one out. I'm kidding. I'm not. I got to get at Cottonwood Heights in like 20 minutes. So
amen, dude.
Maybe we do a round 2.
Appreciate it, fans.
Amen.
Thank you, homie.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.